I want to show you exactly how to use Twitter step by step on the mobile app. So this is for iPhone and Android users. And if you want to learn how to use Twitter, there is also a website at twitter.com. I do have a dedicated video that you could watch after this video, but this should give you everything you need to know for using Twitter on the mobile app. And Twitter, the company, has been around since 2006 and has over 400 million active users today. So to use Twitter on the mobile app, find it in the App Store or the Google Play Store. You could just search for it. It's called Twitter. And go ahead and download and open it here. And if you've never logged into it before, if you don't have an account, it's gonna take you to the account page and you could sign up here for a brand new account. Just press create account. The sign up process is pretty straightforward. You do have to choose a name. Later, I'll show you how to choose a handle. That has to be unique. This one, other people could also have the same exact name. So this could be your name, your company name, whatever you want that goes here. And the rest you have to fill out. It's gonna ask you also to select some interests and follow some accounts, but you could skip some of that. I'll show you that once you log into your account. Now for this next step, let me show you inside of Twitter. This is the home page. And if you look on top right here, you have two different tabs. You have a following tab and you have a for you tab. Now this is newer, but the big difference here is following is the accounts that you chose to follow when you signed up. I'll show you how to follow accounts in a second if you don't see anything here. But the for you tab is actually things that are recommended to you based on your activity on Twitter. So you'll also see accounts you follow here too. So it's a combination of following and your recent activity on Twitter to kind of customize this for you. Next, let me show you exactly how to follow accounts so you actually get more information here, because with accounts that you follow, for example, you could just go through and see what they're posting on Twitter. So if you go down a little bit on the following page, you'll see some recommendations. So you could just show more here and it's gonna ask you to connect with all kinds of accounts. You could also find friends here if you know their handle, or you could give it information from your phone. So you could just press follow here to follow accounts, and you could follow multiple accounts from this page. Another way to follow accounts is under the search tab here. You could go on top of Twitter here and type in people that you may know or companies you want to follow, and then you could select them from here and then follow them from their own page. This is their profile page. I'll show you all about profiles in a bit. But you could follow them from here, or you could just press search. And if you go to the people tab here, based on your search on top, it's gonna show you all the accounts that have a similar name or that exact name here. And if you go to the top, you'll see the latest posts from whatever you search. So you could search not just accounts, you could search words as well and then see what the posts are under that. So the search tab, again, is very useful and you use it all the time to follow people. So follow about 5 to 10 different accounts. And then if you go to the home tab on the bottom here, let me go back. You could basically go to the top of the following, and now you'll see new different posts because you start following different pages here based on how quickly they're posting. Next, let me show you how to interact with a tweet. So when you see a tweet, you'll see on the bottom of it, you'll have multiple different options. So the very first one is called a reply. So basically with a reply, it's like commenting on a post. So you could say anything you want here and then press tweet, and it's just a reply to that tweet. Okay, so that's what that first one is. The second one is called a retweet. So this is a way to share that tweet if you like it on your own profile, or you could quote the tweet too. And this is another way to share it where you could add your own comment. The first one just retweets it, doesn't add any commentary to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this, and I'll just go ahead and do a regular retweet so I could show you where that ends up. This one is just a heart here, so you could give it a like basically. It shows the view counts, and then the share option over here lets you bookmark it. So this will save it to a bookmark page that I'll show you where all your saved tweets will be, or bookmark tweets. You could copy and share the link, and you could share it to other social media platforms. So those are all your options over here. And you also have these 3 dots over here. If you decide to unfollow someone you're following, you could do that from here. You could also mute and block them. Muting basically doesn't show their tweet to you, but it won't fully unfollow them. And blocking basically makes them disappear from your version of Twitter. You just won't see them again or any of their tweets. Now for the next step, let's go ahead and compose our own tweet. So let me just go to the home page here. You could press this plus sign over here. If you press this, it's gonna let you compose your own tweet and share your own thoughts. Now you have lots of options. You could use text, so you could tweet a text here, and as soon as you press tweet, it's going to tweet that and make it publicly available to anyone on Twitter. You also have all these options down here. So let me go through this. The first one I'm going to skip for a second because I'll go over that in a bit. This is called Spaces. The second one here is going to basically let you record, again, audio. If you just press record and allow it access, it will just record what you're saying, and then you could stop and press done. It will share an audio tweet like that. So I'm going to delete that one. Then you could share images. So this will get access to your photos here, where you could share photos and videos. I'm not going to give it access now. You could share these GIFs here. So if you want to share any of these, you could select them and share them as well. Then you have this thing called polls. These are very popular on Twitter, and it's a way to get feedback or posts. Basically, these polls or quizzes on there. And the last one is this plus sign. So if you press the plus sign, it lets you add another tweet to that tweet. The reason why you may want to do that is because Twitter has a character limit. So actually, as you type more, it's going to show you that this is going to get filled up over here. This right here is going to get filled up. So you have 280 characters here in your tweet. So if you wanted to get past that limitations of how many characters you have per tweet, you press the plus sign and it lets you add multiple tweets. So when you do this, this is called a Twitter thread. It's basically multiple tweets as sharing one thought here that could be far longer than 240 characters. And then you also have this option for privacy. So on top, if I press public, I could actually share it to this thing called Twitter Circle. Now this is basically if you create a private group for yourself and you share your thoughts with just that group. So if you wanted to do that, you just edit that and basically create your own circle here. Most of the time you want to share publicly, so you would leave this on public. And that's pretty much how most people use Twitter and share their thoughts with the public. And you also have an option for who could reply. So when I showed you replying or commenting on a tweet, you could change that to everyone or just people that follow you or only people that you mention. Which you see this @ sign, that brings me to two other options you have inside of a tweet. The first one is the @ sign. So you could basically mention other people on Twitter. So I'll use one of my other accounts here and you mention it like that. So then someone could click that from your tweet and go to that account. And this is another way to get their attention. And there's this thing called hashtag. If you press the hashtag sign, you'll see a bunch of different hashtags that show up. Okay, so if I type tech, for example, tech is a hashtag. And then it will be obvious that my tweet is about tech. This is a way to tag your tweets. So why would you want to use hashtags? It's a discoverability function. You tag your tweet with a hashtag so then people know what it's about. And then when people are searching Twitter for different topics, they use hashtags sometimes, and that will basically be a way for your tweet to show up in the search of that hashtag. So it's not required, but it's a great way if you're trying to grow your Twitter to use multiple hashtags at the end of every tweet. So to post a tweet publicly, all I have to do now is press tweet right here, and it's going to show up on my profile, which brings us to the next step, which is our profile page and other people's profile page. So to get there, press your logo on top here, and there's a profile tab, which I could go to from here. Now, inside of a profile tab, let me show you what you're looking at. And I added a few things to my profile just to really show you what you got here. You got a profile logo, that's this thing over here. And you got a banner picture. That's the thing that shows up on top over here. So anytime you access someone's profile, you'll see those on their page. And then you have a little bit of a bio here, a location, when I joined, and following and followers all show up over here. Now, anything I've tweeted in the past shows up over here. Even my retweets show up over here. And they also show up under tweets and replies. They will all show up over here, and media and likes. So anything that I've shared, like photos and videos, show up here. Anything that I've liked shows up over here. Now, if you press edit profile, you could go ahead and change your name, your bio, your location, website, and so on all over here. Now, this is your name where you signed up. Your username, the unique name, I recommend you don't change that. This is a name that actually shows up in addition to your username. So if you look over here, the @mention, right, that's the unique name, but the one on top of it is your regular name, which you can change. This one, the @mention, you shouldn't change it because it's unique to you. If you change it, someone else could pick this up and use it for their profile. And that profile page, everyone has that profile page. So if I go to this profile page, I could see all the same things that I just showed you, right? The banner, the profile, the name, the bio, it's all over here, the following follower and all their tweets. So if you want to see one person's tweets, you could just go to their profile, go to this tab and just keep scrolling down and you'll see everything they've ever posted as you go through it. And there's a whole section if you go down here. So I showed you the home, the search. This one is the notifications, so what's been going on with your accounts. But then this last one, it's a whole direct messaging platform. So basically you could privately message people. If you make a tweet that is public, everyone could see that, unless you set that privacy to be a little bit different. But this one is like text messaging. You could message someone that is also a Twitter user. So if I press write message, I just have to pick their name here from the drop downs. So this is just a random person. I could select their name here and then I could craft a message and then I could also attach photos to or GIFs and then send a message and they could reply to me. Now, some people have this option turned off. And if you wanted to change that for yourself too, just go to messages and you could press the settings option and you could turn off allow messages from anyone. Actually, that's turned off by default, so you could turn that on if you wanted to allow message requests from anyone. So if you can't message someone, it means that they have this option turned off over here. But the messaging tab, also known as DMs or direct messages, is a very powerful part of Twitter where you could actually have private or group conversations with other people and not publicly share your thoughts. Now, on the very bottom of the page, you also see this microphone option. This is something called Twitter Spaces. It's basically an audio platform where you could listen in on conversations and join conversations in big, large, basically virtual groups. So if you wanted to check out Spaces, you could basically jump into different groups here and you could listen in and then you could raise your hand to join. Now, this is an entirely different platform in a way. So I have a dedicated video to how to use Twitter Spaces if you want to learn more about how this works. And you could create your own as well by pressing Create Spaces and read all about the rules here. Now, you also could click your profile on top and you have a bunch of other options. I showed you the profile, but there's some more advanced options here that you could explore about how you organize the different tweets that you've liked here. And there's this option for settings, which I find really useful. If you go to settings and privacy, there's a bunch of settings, behind the scenes settings that you could change about your Twitter profile. One of them I really like under display here. So I could go to display and sound and kind of change how things look. So there's a dark mode. There's a font option here available. So do explore this if you don't like the native layout of Twitter. And the last thing I'll mention that a lot of people like as well is this thing called Twitter Blue. So this is basically a subscription version of Twitter. You have to pay for this per month. It's available on the website as well and on mobile devices. But basically, it lets you do some things that the regular Twitter doesn't let you do. For example, if you make a mistake sending a tweet with a spelling, you can't edit that. So this lets you edit tweets after you post it. It lets you basically post longer videos if that's what you want to do with Twitter. And it reduces the number of ads you'll see. But again, I do have a dedicated video to Twitter Blue and the verification process as well, so I won't cover that here. But those are options that are available from your profile tab and from the privacy option. So if you want to learn more about Twitter, there's the twitter.com. I have a dedicated tutorial for, and Twitter Spaces, Twitter Blue, all those will be linked in the description as separate videos so you can learn all about each one of those. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.